Hello there, guys, and welcome to That Anxious Gamer. Today I'm going to be doing the most straightforward tier list for all feats, every single feat in Baldur's Gate 3, and be giving you very easy, direct, simple to understand tips about feats. So, guys, this is aimed at for people that are just getting into the game, don't know what to pick, and a lot of the tier list out there and feats explanations are very complicated, they're very wordy. I want to really break it down for you guys. I want to give this information in a TLDR format. So, guys, one of the biggest tips I want to give you is right up front. Always take your classes in 4-level increments. So, if you didn't know, you get a feat at level 4, level 8, and level 12. Level 12 being the level cap in Baldur's Gate 3 currently. So, what that means, guys, is that if you're playing one class, you don't have to worry about it. You're going to get 3 feats by the time the game ends. However, if you do choose the multi-class, I would highly recommend, guys, that you take your multi-class in 4-level increments. So you either do 4 levels of one class and 8 levels of another class, or you do 4 levels of one class, 4 levels of another class, and 4 levels of a third class. This is very important. You don't want to do like 2 levels of this, 3 levels of that, 6 levels of something else, because you're going to miss one of your feats, and that's going to be a huge power reduction by the end of the game. So that's one of the biggest tips I can give you right there. In this list, this whole tier list is going to be completely chaptered and timestamped, so you can go to whatever feats you're interested in and hear my thoughts. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I wanted to use Tier List Maker, but because there's no symbols for feats, that really wasn't possible. So what I'm going to be doing is drawing on the screen specifically what I think of each feat and talking you through a very simple explanation of it. And like I said, you can go directly to the timestamps to jump around to exactly what you want. I want to be respectful of your time. Let's get right into it. A lot of people are going to say, guys, we're going to be starting with ability improvement. A lot of people are going to say ability improvement is the best feat in the game. I wouldn't say it's the best feat in the game. We have to put this in S tier, guys. I think it would be completely wrong to put it anywhere else. So what this basically does is increases your ability. Let's say you're a strength-based character. You can increase one ability by 2 points or 2 abilities by 1 point, up to a maximum of 20. Now, I want to note, guys, this 20 limit is not a hard cap. It is a hard cap in terms of increasing, but you can get items that actually boost it over 20. Now, a very important thing to understand about ability points, and this is something a lot of people don't talk about, is ability points only really affect you in 2-level increments. So getting 2 points in different abilities, if they don't go to even points, doesn't make sense. So what I'm saying is that if you, let's say, have an ability at 14 and you raise it to 16, that's going to directly help you in game. If you have an ability at 15 and increase it to 16, that's going to affect you in the exact same way. So what you do not want to do when taking this ability improvement is to get, let's say you have two abilities at level 14 and you increase them both to level 15. That actually didn't help you at all until you then increase them fully to level 16. So you want to keep this in mind. This is an S tier ability. I'm not going to lie about that. But I don't actually believe it's the best on this list, which I'll get to later on. So after ability improvement, let's get right on to Actor. Actor, what does it do? Your charisma increases by 1 to a maximum of 20. We've talked about that. That's very similar to ability improvement. Your proficiency bonus is also doubled for deception and performance checks. Guys, this is like best case scenario C tier. There's not really much use for this. I'm not going to go too far over this. Anybody that's a beginner, unless you like role playing a very specific deception character, there's not much use for this. I would not worry about it. Let's move on. Alert. You gain a 5 bonus to initiative and can't be surprised. Guys, this is actually good. This is really, really good, especially for like rogue assassins. Somebody that needs to hit on turn 1. Let's say you're a ranger and you're a gloomstalker. This could be extremely strong. There are certain classes that this excels in, and then there are certain classes that this isn't going to be that great in. However, this is very strong. We're going to be putting this in A tier. So not a bad one at all to pick up. Alert is quite good. However, don't pick this up, guys, unless you know what you're doing. If you're a beginner to the game, I wouldn't suggest Alert. And if you do pick it up, I would suggest picking it up at level 8 or 12. You definitely don't want to pick this up at level 4. I just don't think there's enough utility for it. But I'm going to be putting it in A tier. Athlete. Your strength or dexterity increases by 1 to a maximum of 20. When you're prone, standing up uses significantly less movement. Your jump distance also increases by 50. So, guys, I think this is going to be a speedrunner's tool, and specifically for the reason of your jump distance increases by 50%. Now, guys, that is absolutely crazy. That's massive. I could definitely see you getting to places that you're not intended to get to early game by using this. Maybe you could use this and like get to Karlach very, very quickly. But the problem is, guys, you're basically getting a bump of strength or dexterity up to 1. So if you're barbarian, if you're, let's say, like a rogue, there are certain things, like if you're any dexterity class, this helps you a little bit. Strength class, this helps you a little bit. But the problem is this prone standing up uses a lot less. That's not going to be super impactful. Most people, even though this increase is massive, is it really going to justify, one of your free feats that you're getting through the whole game? I don't think so. I'm going to put this in B tier. I don't think it's bad, but it isn't great either. Now, what is great, guys, is what we're talking about next, which is Charger, guys. So what do I think about Charger? Charger, I think for the right class is S tier. So what I mean by for the right class, Barbarian, Fighter, any melee-oriented class. If you're going in there, if you're tanking damage, but specifically Barbarian and Fighter, I think Charger is absolutely S tier. So I played around with this, and what this basically does is it allows you to move your full distance in-game, but then actually move further with your attack. So a lot of times melee champions have this problem where they can't actually get in range to do their damage. And so Charger is a very useful skill. And I really think Charger is S tier. It's incredibly good. If you're a melee-oriented class, like my wife is playing Lily, a Barbarian, Charger is incredibly strong, guys. It's so good. What do I think about Crossbow Expert? Guys, this is useless. This is a useless. Do not pick this feat, especially if you're a beginner. But most people, there's no use case for this. What does it do? It makes your crossbow attack within melee range. Let's think about this, guys. If you are a crossbow player, you're going to want to stay at range. If they've already gotten within melee range, you're already at a huge disadvantage. You're going to get, your attack rolls do not have disadvantage. Your piercing shots also inflict gaping wounds for twice as long. You should be killing your opponent by this point, guys. If they're getting in melee range and you're just sitting there, this is like a League of Legends thing, right? You should be kiting, guys. You shouldn't let them get within melee range anyway. This is terrible. Let's move on. Defensive Dualist. When attacked while wielding a fitness weapon you're proficient with, you gain a reaction to add your proficiency bonus to armor class, possibly causing the attack to miss. This is at best C tier. When you read this, guys, I want to make a really quick note for Defensive Duelist. Anything that has too many conditionals, like you need X, Y, Z to happen for it to work, is going to be bad, especially if you're a beginner, which is what I'm gearing this for, like people that they want to know what's good and what's bad. I don't think there's any reason you would ever pick this, to be completely honest with you. It's just very niche. I don't think I would suggest it in almost any case. Dual Wielder. You can use 2-weapon fighting even if your weapons are on light, and you gain a 1+ bonus to armor class when wielding a melee weapon in each hand. You cannot dual wield heavy weapons. This could be good, guys. I'm going to put it in B. This isn't great, but it isn't terrible. If you're somebody that loves dual wielding, like for instance, I'm playing a Drizzt character, and I'm basically dual wielding scimitars, but let's say you want to dual wield something that isn't light, but isn't like a great hammer. This would be S tier in my opinion if you could dual wield heavy weapons. But since you cannot, it's just not that great. Like you can't do Elden Ring, you can't have 2 giant hammers in your hands. So dual wielder, it's a bit niche. It's not terrible, but it's not great. So let's go on, guys, and we'll do Dungeon Dweller. Dungeon Dweller, you gain advantage on perception checks made to detect hidden objects and on saving throws made to avoid or resist traps. You gain resistance to damage dealt by traps. This is like B. This is not bad, but this isn't great. Ultimately, this is too conditional. Like, it is nice to gain perception and avoid traps, but normally you're going to have one party member that's really good in perception anyway. I just don't think there's enough utility here. I would definitely never get this at level 4. I think this would be a terrible feat at level 4. But at level like 8 or 12, maybe you take it on one of your characters. But it's situational, guys. I mean, it's not B tier, but it's B is being generous, to be honest. Let's move on. Durable. Your constitution increases by 1 to a maximum of 20. You gain 4 hit points each time you take a short rest. This, guys, is kind of a little bit of a lazy trap because really you can be long resting pretty often in game and you're getting a lot of food, guys. There's so much food and camp supplies in Baldur's Gate 3. I'd never have a problem full resting. So what this means is that basically, I just don't want to go back to camp. So I want to be a little bit lazy about combat. It's not great, guys. I think putting in C tier is honestly pretty generous. I think this is pretty bad, to be honest, and I don't see a reason you would take this. I would not recommend durable at all. What do we think about Elemental Adept? Your spells ignore resistance to a damage type of your choice. When you cast spells of that type, you cannot roll a 1. So, this, for most classes, is D tier, but it could be S tier for certain classes. So if you're playing, let's say, like a Storm Cleric, something that deals, 1 to 2 types of damage, a very specific type of damage, and you need that damage to connect. I believe certain Druids also are like this, that they deal 1 type of damage predominantly, and they need that to hit. It could be good. The problem is that it's super situational. So I would say there's like 2% of cases that this is an S tier, and then there's like 98% of cases that this is a D tier. So because of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in like a situational A tier, like A tier, but like an asterisk on this one, right? An asterisk on this one. Sorry about my bad, my bad drawing, guys. I'm not an artist by nature, but yeah. Great Weapon Master. When you land a critical hit or kill a target with a melee attack, you can now make another melee weapon attack and attack as a bonus action that turn. Attacks with heavy melee weapons you're proficient with can deal an additional 10 damage at the cost of a -5 to attack roll. So guys, let me simplify this for you because this sounds incredibly wordy and you're going to think, oh, it's bad because what I talked about was the conditional thing. Great Weapon Master is S tier. There's no question. I'm putting it immediately in S tier. So what does it do? What Great Weapon Master allows you to do is like my wife Lily plays using this feat. What this will do is you can basically, if you get a kill with a melee weapon, you can then attack again with a melee weapon. Now on this second attack, you can toggle on and off something that it makes your chance to hit worse, but your damage much higher. So what this actually means when they talk about attack roll and damage roll, there's actually 2 rolls going on, guys, when you're hitting an enemy. The first roll is determining if you actually strike that enemy. That's what they're talking about the attack roll. Then a damage roll comes up. So basically what this is doing is, let's say you need 12 to hit an enemy, and you roll a 17. So you get -5, so you hit that 12, and you actually are able to hit the enemy. But then you do an additional roll, and it puts on a flat 10 damage to this. So if you look over, so this is a very easy way to use this. Look over an enemy you're about to hit. If you have this toggled on, and you have, let's say, like a 70% hit chance, just leave it on. You're going to get a huge damage increase for basically very little cost. However, if you're going to strike at, like, let's say 30% chance, you need to toggle this off. Your attack roll, you won't hit that attack very likely, and it's basically going to hurt you more than help you. The thing is, though, you can toggle this on and off. So there's actually a setting right in game where you can just turn this on and off. So you can choose whether you take this, hit chance reduction. So yeah, this is Great Weapon Master is basically a feat done absolutely right. It's S+ tier. I'm gonna put it actually in S+ tier. This is the first tier, feat that I think is absolutely insane. If you're any melee weapon user, this is like, you must have this Great Weapon Master. You want to get this every single playthrough. It's that good. Get Great Weapon Master. Let's move on. So we're going to be scrolling down here, guys. We're going to be scrolling down, and there we go to Heavily Armored. So Heavily Armored, you gain armor proficiency with heavy armor and your strength increases by 1 to a maximum of 20. This one's like B tier, guys. I mean, there's some things that I like about it for heavily armored. The problem is that what you're getting is kind of weak a little bit. Like, you do get armor proficiency with heavy armor, but it's not that hard to get armor proficiency for heavy armor already. And your strength is only increasing at 1, so you could just use ability improvement for this. So this is a problem of too many other things basically give you this. And so this is super situational. It's super niche. If you really want to wear heavy armor and you haven't gotten an ability to wear heavy armor, you have no proficiency, I could see this at level 8 to 12. Never get this at level 4. I don't think it will ever help you at level 4. B is generous. Honestly, guys, B is very generous. I think this could easily be C tier. Let's move on. Heavy Armor Master. Your strength increases by 1 to a maximum of 20. Incoming damage from non-magical or attacks also decreases by 3 when you're wearing heavy armor. This could be very good if you're, like, let's say only for level 8 or 12, but I'm going to put this in, like, A tier, guys. I'm going to put this in A tier, and I'm going to say only probably for barbarians, because I think that this is going to be really good if you have a high health pool and well, I shouldn't say that because barbarians can't wear heavy armor, actually. Fighters would probably benefit the most from this. So yeah, I was thinking barbarians, but since they can't wear heavy armor, that's going to be kind of bad. Let's actually take this out of A tier, guys. I changed my mind on this. Let's actually put this in B tier. The more I think about it, the more I think it's kind of like heavily armored. Fighters could really benefit from this because they can wear heavy armor, and this 3 decrease from any melee strike could be quite nice, especially in the mid game. But there's just too much situational about it. It's not bad. It's not as bad as heavily armored. I think Heavy Armor Master is actually better because you also get the strength increase. You get the strength increase, but the passive is better in my opinion. But it's not great. So let's move on from that one. That one's kind of a niche one. If you're a beginner to the game, don't get this. This is super situational. Lightly armored. You gain proficiency with light armor and your strength or dexterity increases by 1. Guys, we're basically back with heavily armored, except I think this is even worse because a lot of classes just get light armor proficiencies. So I couldn't really see this above a C. I think this is almost useless. You're almost always going to get, this is just, it's incredibly niche. It's like so niche that I could see it like 1% of players wanting to use it. Don't use this feat. It's stupid. Lucky. Guys, this is like one of the best feats in the game. This is absolutely one of the best feats in the game. So I played around with this. And what it basically does is it gives you lucky dice that you can re-roll, like attack rolls if you miss attacks. If you're going to miss an attack, it basically allows you to re-roll that die. It's incredibly good, guys. It's very similar to what I think I believe the gnomes get something very similar to this in game. Lucky is like S+ here. We're going to put it in S+ right now. Lucky at 4, at 8, or at 12, a lot of characters could benefit from Lucky. I got one person at 4. I wouldn't maybe suggest 4. I think 8 is a better choice for it. Lucky is very, very good. It's easily S+ tier with Great Weapon Master. And for the right now, right, we have ability improvement in S, we have Great Weapon Master on S+, and we have Lucky in S+. So this is one of the best feats in the game. I highly recommend getting Lucky. What do we think about Mage Slayer? When a creature casts a spell within melee range of you, you have advantage on any saving throw. You can use a reaction to immediately make an attack against the caster. Enemies you hit have disadvantage. 2 situational, guys. How many, a lot of mages have very low health pool, guys. So this isn't that great. It's not that great, guys. I'm going to put it in C tier. I think this is way too situational. I don't have that much trouble with mages, to be honest. If you have like one ranger character, you shoot arrows at them and they generally die. It's more a situation of getting in range and actually learning how to position correctly. So I think that when you're having a lot of trouble with mages, it's just generally because maybe the turn-based system is very difficult and confusing, which it is, especially if you've never played this type of game. I don't think Mage Slayer is worth a feat at all, pretty much ever. Magic Initiate Bard. So I'm going to be kind of covering these as a whole. Magic Initiate Bard, Magic Initiate Cleric, Magic Initiate Druid, sorcerer, warlock, and wizard. So I'm going to say this right away. So basically, what do? You learn 2 cantrips and 1 level 1 spell, right? Here's what I'm going to say about this. What would actually help you? So I think cleric is A tier, and I think warlock is A tier. I think all of the rest of these are like probably this is like C, this is probably C, this is probably like C, and yeah, this is like B or C. So we'll just put them all in C. Why do I think cleric and warlock are better? Because cleric and warlock basically both have 1 to 2 spells that actually really matter. So like for cleric, you could get bless, which would be really, really good. For warlock, you could get eldritch blast, which would be really, really good. Everything else, like what from bard, druid, sorcerer, wizard, those classes more need a variety of spells. It's not like you're trying to get this one single thing. But yeah, cleric and warlock, I could see more utility for it. So that's basically covering all of those. Only at level 8 or 12, guys. I couldn't see picking this up early, and I think they're all situational, to be completely honest with you. I don't think most of the time you're going to either have a cleric or have some support class like a bard. So do you really want to pick this up? It's kind of dicey, guys. I don't know about any of the magic initiates. I think all the magic initiates have very similar problems, which is that you should have a character in your party that's already doing this. So why are you getting this? Let's move on to Martial Adept. You learn 2 maneuvers from the Polearm Master subclass and gain a superiority die to fuel them. You regain expended superiority die after a short or long rest. So on surface, this looks good, and I played around with this. I actually took a character and played around with this. Here's the problem. I believe when you're a Battle Master on the Warrior class, you get like either 3 or 4 superiority die. This gives you 1. It's too weak, guys. It's just too weak. This is like C tier at best. It's not very good. You don't notice the difference that well. The maneuvers are nice, but because you have so few superiority die to spend, it's just not that good. So Martial Adept, don't get it. That's basically my recommendation. It's not great. Medium Armor Master. While you wear medium armor, it doesn't impose disadvantage on stealth checks. The bonus to armor class you gain from dexterity modifier also becomes 3 and 2 instead of 2. This could be useful if you are a rogue that wants to wear medium armor. That's about it. I'm going to put it in B tier because I don't think it deserves C tier, but it's very situational. Unless you're a rogue or another stealth-based class, I can't see getting this. So I think it's only good for a very select group of people, and you'll know if you're that type. Like if you're doing stealth 80% of the game, then this may be good because you can actually basically get more from your dexterity modifier, which is good, and you can wear medium armor and not get disadvantage on stealth. So I think that's quite good, and it can be very strong in the right class, which is why I'm putting it in B. But because it's so situational, I can't really put it above it. Mobile. Your movement speed increases, and difficult terrain doesn't slow you down when you dash. If you move after making a melee attack, you don't provoke opportunity attacks. So because you don't provoke opportunity attacks, I'm going to put this in like, this is high B, low A. I'm going to give it the advantage of the doubt and put it A, because I could actually see a lot of characters that could potentially use this. Your movement speed increases, that's great. Difficult terrain, guys, there's difficult terrain. There's mud everywhere in this game. I mean, you're getting through difficult terrain all the time. Me and my wife, Lily, have a bunch of trouble with this. I think for a beginner, actually, this could be very good. Like, I wouldn't hate you taking this at level 4 or 8, because I think that you want to get feats, guys, that are going to help you all the time. You want them to not be like, oh, in this one situation I had, 2 days ago, it was really good. You want them to be something that you're experiencing several times an hour. This is going to be something that is fairly usable quite often. So I think mobile is pretty good. It's not S tier by any measure, but it's pretty good. So let's go down, guys, and move on. So now we're going to be going to moderately armored is going to be our next one. You gain armor proficiency with medium armor and shields, and your strength and dexterity increased by 1 to a maximum of 20. We've talked about the armored, guys. We've done this for heavy. We've done this for light. C tier, guys, I think we've kind of beaten this to death. It's too situational. There's too many ways to gain armor proficiency. You don't need this. You should not waste a feat on this. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Do not get moderately armored. And if you are getting moderately armored, you need to know exactly why. And since this is more geared for people that aren't experts in D&D and are beginners to intermediates in the game, would not recommend moderately armored. Performer. You gain music instrument proficiency and your charisma increases by 1 to a maximum of 20. I have a hard time figuring out what this is going for because I feel like this is kind of like if you want to be a bard, but you chose not to play a bard. So you can gain musical instrument proficiency and your charisma increases. So that makes me think that you're like a paladin that wants to play a musical instrument. It's weird, guys. This is we're gonna put this in the W category, which is weird. I don't know what you're going for here. This is like a role play feat, I feel. I'm not going to recommend it at all. It's hard to even put this in a tier list because I don't even know what they're going for here. Would not recommend, but if you want to role play like as a paladin that can play a lute, go for it. Polearm Master. When attacking with a glaive, halberd, quarterstaff, or spear, you can use a bonus action to attack with the butt of your weapon. You can make an opportunity attack when a target comes within range. This sounds pretty much specifically for the monk class, but glaives, halberds, you could be like a fighter. This could be good, guys. I like this. I'm going to put this in A. I think there's a lot of situations that you could use this because you gain a bonus action. You can attack with the butt of your weapon. So you're basically hitting twice. It may not do that much damage, but you're still hitting pretty much twice every turn. You can also make an opportunity attack when a target comes within range. So, kind of halberd, it kind of makes sense from a lore perspective. You're trying to keep them out. You're poking them away. So you get an opportunity attack when somebody's moving past you and comes within range. And there's a lot of situations that I could see this actually playing out. So if you're playing a class with one of these weapons, go for it, guys. This is good. Resilient. You increase an ability by 1 to a maximum of 20 and gain proficiency in the ability saving throw. Why would you not use ability improvement here? This is bad, guys. I'm going to put D tier, D. Bad. This one, let's just cross out, guys. Don't do this. Ritual caster. You learn 2 ritual spells of your choice. Now, the nice thing about ritual spells is you can use them outside of combat. That's basically it. I don't think this is good. We're going to put this in like low C tier. It's just not useful enough, guys. It's not useful enough. Let's move on. Savage Attacker. When making weapon attacks, you roll your damage dice twice and use the highest result. This, guys, could be very strong in certain cases. I mean, this is basically giving you 2 rolls. That's pretty good, guys. I cannot put this in any less than A tier, but I think this is only for level 8 and 12. I would not get this at level 4. I don't think it helps you as much at that point. However, in later times, like in level 8 or level 12, later game, mid to late game, I think this is very good. And I think if you're a melee class, you should definitely 100% be picking this up. For certain classes like Barbarian and Warrior, this is probably S tier. This is probably S tier because you're going to get the higher rolls. So if you roll like one hits a 9 and one hits like an 18, I mean, you're getting 9 extra damage. This could be very strong. Sentinel. This is a really slept on skill, guys. People are not talking about the skill enough. Sentinel. When an enemy walks within melee range, when an enemy within melee range attacks an ally, you can use a reaction to make a weapon attack against that enemy. Target ally must not have their Sentinel feat. So they already figured out, guys, that this is abusable. Because if all of you could take Sentinel, you would just be all hitting the enemy. When one enemy hit that person, you would just stick together as a group, and it would be crazy OP. Target ally must not have Sentinel. You gain advantage on opportunity attacks. And when you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, it can no longer move for the rest of the turn. This is even better, guys. We're going to put Sentinel easy S+ here. I think this, along with Lucky and Great Weapon Master, is probably the 3 best abilities in the game. Sentinel is like really strong. For feats, guys, pretty much, now remember, you can't use it if an ally has it. So you're probably only going to get Sentinel on one person per party, but one person should definitely have Sentinel. And it makes the most sense, right? That it's somebody that's in the front line. So like if you have like let's say, for instance, a Battle Master Warrior, and you also have a Cleric, or if you have a Barbarian and you have a Cleric, getting the Cleric to have Sentinel can make a lot of sense because they're going to be hitting the person that's frontline tanking like the Barbarian. And then the Sentinel Cleric is going to be able to hit them. This is a great skill, guys. It's a great feat. I think you should definitely be picking up Sentinel. I'm going to put like an explanation point on it. Pick it up, guys. Sentinel is good. Sharpshooter. Your ranged attacks do not get penalties from high ground rules. Ranged weapon attacks with weapons you are proficient with have a -5 penalty to your attack roll, but deal an additional 10 damage. So this is like the archery variant of Great Weapon Master. Because if you read it, it's very similar to Great Weapon Master, but you don't get to toggle it, guys. You don't get to toggle it. Just by not being able to toggle it, I think, like, I haven't played around with this that much, but the high ground thing is really good, especially if you're an archer. I really only see you using this if you're a ranger. So number one, it's situational. It's more situational than Great Weapon Master. Number two, it doesn't look like you can toggle this. So because you can't toggle it, I'm going to put it in like high B tier. I definitely think it's useful for certain classes, but high B is as good as I can do for it. Shield Master. You gain a 2% to dexterity saving throws when using a shield. If a spell forces you to make a dexterity saving throw, you can use a reaction to shield yourself and diminish the damage effect. On a failed saving throw, you only take half damage. On a successful saving throw, you don't take any damage. If you're using a shield, guys, I would put this in A tier. If you're using a shield, I think this can be quite good. You just get a lot of passive benefits. This isn't one of those ones that you see like, wow, this is incredible. But it's strong. It's kind of got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And so I think Shield Master is good if you're a sword and board character, but only really use it in that particular case. What do I think about Skilled? Skilled, I would put in like B tier. It's nice because you gain proficiency in free skills of your choice, but, probably you would have picked proficiency when you were at your race and kind of background selection. So hopefully, you would have thought about that a little bit in character creation. And it's an example of why character creation is so important. It is okay. It's okay, but I can't really give up one of my free feats in the entire game to get proficiency in free skills. I just don't know if it's worth it. If you made a big mistake and you don't want to go back to character creation and you like really don't know what you want to do and like don't want to respec, I guess. I don't know, guys. This is just too situational. I actually am gonna cross it out of B tier. I think this is C tier. Spell Sniper. You learn a cantrip, and the number you need to roll a critical hit when attack is reduced by 1. No. D tier, D tier, D tier. One cantrip, guys, and the only thing is critical hit goes from 20 to now 19. Guys, this is terrible. This is like absolutely terrible. Don't get this. That was just, it's terrible. Do not ever get Spell Sniper at all. Let's just cross this completely off. All right, so now we have Tavern Brawler. When you make an unarmored attack, use an improvised weapon, or throw something, your strength modifier is added twice to the damage and attack roll. What do I think about Tavern Brawler? Situational, guys. Situational. I'm going to put it in C tier. I just don't think, even though this sounds cool, like it definitely could have some utility, maybe for a barbarian, because you're throwing things using improvised weapons. I just don't think it's worth it, guys. I think there's so many better feats. You'll only have 3 feats in the entire game, guys. That point has to be really, expressed, and that's a very important point. Don't take Tavern Brawler. I think it's too situational. Tough. Your hit points maximum increases by 2 for every level you've gained. This could be good. So if you get up to level 12, you could get a maximum of 24 points. I would put this in like maybe B tier, and I would say maybe only for barbarians and warriors. I don't think there's many classes that this could really help. But if you've already taken a feat at level 4, level 8, and you're a barbarian or warrior, and you want to really be a tank on the front line, I could see tough being quite good. So I do think there is some utility, and I do think there are certain classes that could benefit from it, mainly a warrior or barbarian, and really only at level 12, where the 24 points of hit points would actually, make a huge difference. So I think that's really the only case you would want to take tough. What about Warcaster? You gain advantage on saving throws to maintain concentration on a spell, which is kind of nice. You can also use a reaction to cast Shocking Grasp at a target moving out of melee range. Too situational, guys. We're going to put it in C tier. Shocking Grasp, that's kind of nice to be able to basically stun an opponent as they're trying to move away. But, I mean, I could see this on a cleric. Maybe at like level 8 or 12, you get this feat because you want to help maintain blessed concentration. But I just don't think that it's that great. I think there's a lot better feats, and I just want to move on because I think Warcaster, just the majority of players aren't going to benefit from it. Weapon Master. You gain proficiency with 4 weapons of your choice, and your strength or dexterity increases by 1 to a maximum of 20. So if you're playing a lot of weapons, guys, if you like to switch, let's say maybe you're a warrior and you want to be using like a warhammer, and then you want to be using, but a lot of warriors get high amounts of weapon proficiencies anyway. This is just kind of a weird one, guys, because like on the surface, it looks really good, right? You get a stat increase and you get proficiency with 4 weapons. But a lot of times you're going to already be creating a character that has proficiency with the weapons you want and have probably already gained it outside of feats with classes. So between races, classes, any of these ones that you just gain proficiencies, I'm a little bit dubious on. But because you gain proficiencies with 4 weapons of your choice, I'm going to give it the shadow of the doubt. I'm going to put it in B tier. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not great, guys. It's only one of those ones that's kind of like good sometimes, and that's about it. So, guys, now we're basically summarizing. What do I think are the best feats in Baldur's Gate 3? I think the best feats in Baldur's Gate 3, guys, are Great Weapon Master. That's probably my number 1. Lucky. That's probably my number 2. And Sentinel. That's probably my number 3. So if you take nothing away from this video, guys, I want to give you a TLDR. Great Weapon Master, Sentinel, Lucky, are probably the 3 best feats in the game, along with ability improvement, which everybody's going to be talking about. So I'm not really contributing much there. Anytime you're increasing stats, remember that you want to go in even point increments, guys. So if you're increasing, go from 14 to 16. Do not go from 14 to 15 because it doesn't help you until you hit those even break points. So that's one of those things to remember. And if you are multi-classing, guys, absolutely remember that you want to be multi-classing in 4 level increments. So take 4 levels of Paladin and then go into, let's say, 4 levels of Storm Sorcerer or something, whatever you want to be multi-classing with. Do not do like 2, 3, 5. That makes no sense. You're going to be losing a feat at level 12. So guys, that's the TLDR. I wanted to give you this in a very simple, easy to understand format. If I've done a good job, please hit that like button. Please consider subscribing. Most of my viewers are not subscribed, so that would help me out tremendously. And guys, definitely share this video so more people can see it. I really hope you like this, guys, and thank you so much for joining me on this FEATS video. I'll see you guys next time.